I tell you what, it's all just content.
Noise.
Yeah, you've got to be saying something. No matter what it is, you've got to be saying something.
Just shout.
And Twitter is starting to wind me up, I tell you.
Why is that?
Well, it was funny actually. I was looking into it the other day, and Twitter, Facebook, and even Pinterest actually as well. Mm-hmm. They all say in order for you to stay relevant, you need to be posting on a daily basis. And I was thinking to myself, okay, but I haven't really got anything to say of value. So why should I be talking for the sake of talking if I've got nothing to contribute?
Yes, okay.
And that thought process that I have, and I know you have it as well, seems to lie in direct conflict with the way in which these social media platforms want you to utilize them. Mm-hmm. You and I don't feel the need to post every day because we don't really have a lot to contribute on a daily basis. Yeah. We like to think about what it is that's happening and process our thoughts.
Provide sort of meaningful insight, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. When we're actually ready to talk about something, we have something to say.
Yeah.
And I think that was the funny thing that you were talking to me about was how everybody seems to be trying to be the loudest.
Yeah.
And that's what we wanted to talk about. So this is the third episode of Spacebar. It's all about ethics this month. So this time we're talking about noise, really.
Yeah. Shouting the loudest.
Yeah. But you were saying the other day that you were watching Dancing on Ice with your family.
Yeah.
And then the adverts came on.
Yeah. Yeah. You get that horrible moment where you go from just sort of relaxing, chilling out, having a sort of television on in the background, not really paying attention, to then the very deliberate volume increase and
which I believe they deny.
Oh yes, yeah. That's kind of up there with the Facebook "I'm not listening to you" denial. But yeah, that's a different story.
all the reports that I've found with regards to like the listening in and everything, that's all been debunked. But I can't fathom it.
No,
it's so hard to wrap my head around. But
yeah, so the sort of the concept of going from that sitting around relaxing, and then adverts come on, volume increase, and then you just get thumped by this loud, noisy, visually intense sort of montage for the next 3.5 minutes of your life.
Yeah, you're bombarded by like 6 30-second stories.
Yeah.
And because they're in such a finite space of time, they have to sell you themselves.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the product that they're marketing, but their brand.
Yeah.
And in order for these brands to stay relevant and stay ahead of everybody else, they realise, we need to be funny, we need to be weird, we need to be loud, we need to be colourful.
Yeah.
And the problem is, everybody's doing that.
Yes.
I first noticed it with that dairy milk advert with the gorilla.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Yeah.
I think that was probably in the late 2000s, and it's like a full-on minute, I think, the advert, and it has nothing to do with the product.
Yeah,
absolutely nothing. But the fact is that it's weird enough to stick in your head.
Yeah,
and I remember people were going nuts over that, but they were talking about it for ages, and other advertising agencies and other companies noticed this popularity that grew.
Yeah.
And so they started mimicking it with their own weird stuff. But now it's just escalated to the point of it's just overwhelming.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think there's sort of a few examples that come to mind. There's the one that I mentioned from the Dancing on Ice ads, which is a We Buy Any Car advert. So let's just play a quick clip from that now.
We buy any car. We buy any car. Any. WeBuyAnyCar.com sponsors Dancing on Ice.
Okay, so you get the idea of what I'm saying there, just from that little snippet.
Ignore the fact that just wound me up.
So there's another one, which I believe is for Super Noodles. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
That's been coming on at the minute, and this one takes a very similar approach where what they've decided to do is be visually ridiculous and just to plain shout in your face. So here's a clip from that one as well.
Tasty! Super tasty! Super noodle tasty!
Oh, God.
So you kind of get where I'm coming from properly now.
Yeah.
And there's a third example. So this is an advert. This was on a while ago. There's a new one, but I couldn't find it at the minute. But this is a Virgin Media advert for broadband. And it's a really, really long advert. And the whole story is just irritating the whole way through anyway. But then at a couple of points in the advert, they then decide that what they need to now do is sort of just get your heart racing and get your mind sort of blank for a little bit. So what they do is they play some thumping heavy music for you, and it's very, very effective, and it's very, very irritating that it's very effective. But they have some head bobbing going with this music, and it's completely done to just make you just subconscious and mindlessly tap and like bob along to it. So you need to see this one as well visually, so I put it in the description. But here's the clip from that one.
I had the most banging dream. I could do anything for such a reasonable price.
With the new Ultimate Ooth bundle from Virgin Media, you can do anything.
See what you mean.
Yeah, so it's really effective, and fair play, it works. But for me, there's the kind of the ethical side of that the kind of underpinning of all these examples we've seen, which is, in order to sell our product, what we're going to do now is we're just going to shout at people. We're just going to make them brain dead until they follow us like sheep. And it's really bizarre.
It can be extremely overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, God knows what it's doing to our sort of attention spans.
Yeah. The psychology behind it must be, for people that understand it, must be fascinating.
But it's I think when I was younger, I would see car adverts for like Audi or Mercedes, and I'd be thinking to myself, why do car adverts exist? Who's watching these adverts going, you know what I could really do with a car? Yeah,
what are the chances of somebody seeing that at the time they want to buy a car? Yeah.
And then it hit me that they're not trying to sell you the car. They're selling you the brand that the car belongs to.
Yeah.
So I think I use Mercedes as an example where they've got very dramatic lighting, very smooth motion shots of the car as it's driving across some generic city.
Yeah.
I think it's normally at night time you're watching a Mercedes car driving around. And then you've got voiceover by actress Lena Headey, who was in Game of Thrones. She's got a very soothing voice. It sounds very mature, very adult.
Yeah.
So it's definitely conveying this brand of elegance and
class,
and wealth. But it's within reach. You can just about get it. And the idea is it's aspirational. And they're definitely trying to sell you on the Mercedes brand being, it's expensive, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
And I always found that quite intriguing.
Yes.
Is that they're carrying their brand tone into this website through different senses. So they've got the visual, they've got the audio. God knows how long before they introduce other senses into the equation. But you contrast the Mercedes advert with something like the... I think it was a couple of years ago, the Vauxhall Adam adverts. And it's a bunch of younger people driving around another generic city.
Yep.
But it's middle of the day, bright sunshine, colourful cars driving around. And I think they're throwing like paint grenades or something.
Oh, yes, I think I remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, all these colours are exploding in your face, and the visuals and the drama that you're seeing behind this. And everybody in the advert is smiling like crazy.
Yep.
They're all young, beautiful people, and they're having a great time. And, it's aspirational that you can obtain something like that with
a car.
Buy that car and
you'll have this life.
Exactly. And but it works because they've been doing these advert styles for years now.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're clearly effective. They know what they're doing. They know who they're targeting. But then there are days when you'll come across an advert like the Super Noodle advert, like the Virgin Media advert, which is just is harpooning their message into your skull.
Yes, yeah.
And they're saying, you're going to remember this.
Yep. Remember us.
And the frustrating thing is, it works because you were able to list them to me.
Yes.
You were able to tell me, oh, this advert really wound me up.
I mean, I was doing some research for this episode, so, but yes, I mean, they have worked in terms of memorability. Yeah, that is for sure.
Definitely, it's escalation to the point of ridiculousness.
Yeah,
and I don't know what is going to come next.
No, but I think it's interesting because there's another group of sort of platforms that rely on this, and that's the social media platforms, as you mentioned at the beginning.
They do rely on noise.
Yeah, and as you say, it was about, you know, they all have guidelines, and there are studies that people look to say, oh, you know, I've got a business, how often should I be posting? When's the optimum time to post? And all that, ultimately, what I think people forget is that's doing is helping the social media platforms stay relevant, because they won't be around if we stop doing that.
But they sure as hell don't tell you that.
No, of course not. They don't want you to know that. You know, all the time you're spending time posting, you're spending time on their platform, and they're earning money from ad revenue.
But it's interesting actually, because I'm watching some young YouTubers doing their review videos, doing daily vlogs, things like that, seeing the life in the day of a YouTuber. And some of these videos, they're having to shoot, edit, and upload within 24 hours.
Wow.
And you'll see stories. I think there have been a few famous YouTubers. I don't want to name names because I don't want to encourage that kind of behaviour. Yeah. But you'll see a few YouTubers who have admitted that they've burnt out and that they've exhausted themselves with this lifestyle. Yeah. And because YouTube is actively encouraging them to say you need to be posting at minimum on a weekly basis. Yeah. Because otherwise you won't stay relevant. And so this pressure is mounted on them to do this.
Yeah, definitely.
And some people have taken the idea of making YouTube videos, you know, doing reviews, doing vlogs, making funny videos. They wanted to turn that into a career. And so YouTube seemed like an ideal outlet for them. Yeah. And adverts a few years ago was quite, you know, hot and relevant. Yeah. And, you know, a lot of advertisers wanted to get in on the YouTube audience because it was quite a young audience with a bit of disposable income. And so, you know, they're thinking, here's my opportunity. I could quit my menial job and I could actually become a YouTuber full time, earn enough money to earn a living. Yeah. And then YouTube started cracking down on adverts. Right. And which adverts wanted to be applied to which videos. And so the pressure from all these YouTubers to suddenly create safe content that would appease all these advertisers
to meet the rules,
because if they were condoning a message in their videos that lied in conflict with the intended message of the advertisers, their YouTube video would be demonetized. And so now it's evolved into the state where all these YouTubers are now being sponsored. And you'll see Squarespace, you'll see things like HelloFresh or Blue Apron. They're sponsored by all these different companies, and they're all reading from scripts and, you know, saying, I've tried their product, I think it's great, you know. And, I think an advert for Raycon, these earphones and things like that, it's like saying, you know, I've tried them and they're just as they're much cheaper than the same quality that you would get from well-known brands. And I'm thinking, all these reviews by these individual YouTubers with their own personalities and identities are all starting to sound the same. And they're being put under this immense pressure in order to sustain their living. They have to adhere to these rules.
So what we're seeing is kind of almost I think pressure is probably the best way to put it. And I think it follows through from as you say, sort of individuals to businesses. You know, you think of sort of small businesses having to stay relevant and stay on point, having to post all the time. You know, I mean, I look at a lot of businesses in the Kent Foundation, for example. You know, a lot of these businesses are run by sort of young individuals by themselves who are trying to develop their product, their service, and what they've got to do at the same time is somehow make all this noise as well. And I think it puts such a burden on people. I think it's probably no wonder we see so much sort of anxiety and depression when there's so much pressure to be constantly doing something.
Yeah, and when these social media platforms actually are encouraging you to be exposed to them on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And I think prime example is Instagram, where these, affluent people, these wealthy people are showing off their wonderful lives. Maybe they're on a yacht or driving a sports car, or are wearing an expensive watch, and the shot has been composed in such an elegant way where it just looks so appealing that inevitably these people are going to be influenced by that behavior. That desire to want to attain that life can be really stressful, because it's not showing the full story. It's showing a single frame of this person's life, and you have no idea how genuine that is.
It's difficult, isn't it? Yeah.
But these social media platforms are absolving themselves of responsibility, saying, hey, we don't want to restrict what you guys post.
Yeah.
You should be able to post whatever you want. That's the freedom of speech right there. And it's a really cheeky way of saying, not our problem.
Yes, yeah.
But I think...
we didn't encourage that.
No, absolutely. It's I think... in Centre for Humane Technology, which I highly recommend everybody checks out.
Yeah, most definitely.
They talk about the sort of criteria that these social media platforms say, we shouldn't be restricting freedom of speech. Who are we to, judge people's content? We just are delivering the platform in which people can voice their opinion.
Yeah.
It's that's really nice at a simplistic level.
Yes.
But because you are allowing people to voice their opinions and influence people's lives, you have a responsibility to ensure that this is not impacting people's mental health.
Yeah.
Mental health is getting more and more, the issues of mental health, are getting more and more prevalent, because it's affecting so many people. These lives that you're seeing on these very glossy screens, and being exposed to on a daily basis, and being notified with all these alerts and notifications, the noise that's pinging in from your phone, it can just overwhelm you. And no wonder people are suffering because of this.
It's quite concerning, really. I think there's also another side that we haven't touched on yet, and that's the kind of impact it has on what people are saying. So the necessity to keep saying stuff means that you end up sort of ultimately saying pointless stuff all the time. And then also, what I see a lot of the time is people end up saying what they want people to hear. And this for me comes to the forefront when we see sort of agencies and people selling products and services. And what you often see is, somebody selling their particular service in a way that is designed that, this is exactly what somebody wants to hear. And, for me, I find that quite wrong. Now, ultimately, it works. Of course it does. That's how business can be done. But for me, I'd rather be honest and actually say the facts, and have reason and weight behind everything, and have that more sort of human and ethical level to it.
You want to be able to justify what you're saying.
Yeah, that's it. If I was saying, trying to sell, our services to somebody, I'm not going to say, oh yeah, we can turn that around in 4 weeks, when actually in my head I know it's going to take longer than that. I will tell you how long it's going to take, and that's how long it's going to take.
We are very realistic with our time.
Yeah, and so I think what I'm trying to say there is this kind of element for noise means people forget to think about what they're saying a lot of the time, and I think a lot of marketing, a lot of social media is all done in an instant without a lot of thought behind it. I think as well, there's a lot of tools that allow you to sort of plan and schedule things And again, that means that you're sitting down for an hour, scheduling the next 2-3 weeks, whatever, of content, and putting so little thought into it because you're just putting content together.
Well, yeah, it's like, why does it matter? Because that post, that video, can live and die within 24 hours.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're immediately thinking about the next one you've got to post.
Yeah. So I think there's sort of an interesting side there as well.
But to all of you listening, we'd love to know your thoughts.
Yeah, definitely.
Because what we want to do here is start a conversation.
Yes.
And actually get other people's perspectives on this. We may be wrong about sort of like our assessment of social media.
Yeah.
From our experience, from the way in which we work, we see it in this way.
Yeah.
You may see it in another way. You may say, no, social media is great. The idea that I'm able to communicate with people on a daily basis, that's fantastic. I love that. And we want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. It might be that you're running a business and you're struggling to keep up with this need, or you might be a podcaster or a YouTuber suffering from burnout or something like that, and they're I think the people that have the most interesting things to say, those with the experience.
Absolutely. So you can email us at launch@lunarworks.co.uk, or you can find us on Twitter at lunarworkslab and send us a message. Or if you want to visit our website for more information about who we are and what we do, visit lunarworks.co.uk. I think that about covers it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, next time we're going to be talking about sort of tech for good and the impact of technology on society a bit more in a sort of an ethical viewpoint. But yeah, until then, we'll leave it there for now.
See you next time.